Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of this podcast. I am calling it Life's a Roller Coaster podcast. I am Bud Simmons, and I want to personally thank you for coming on. I hope this helps you, and it's fun, enjoyable, and we can all work on each other throughout this podcast. I hope to be able to have many episodes, have some guests on. I want to be able to talk about hardships and how to get through them, how Christ has helped me personally get through a lot of things in my life, the ups, the downs of this life, and how we work through it all. I want to first say that I am constantly working on myself, so I am far from perfect. I am not anything of a psychologist. I am just a man with absolutely no plan. So we will be going through this podcast together, whether we're talking about life and the positives of life, the negatives of life, our fitness, our goals, all the above, being a parent and the struggles of raising our kids in these times. That is what this podcast is for. I hope to have people on here as guest speakers to talk about their journey through life as well. We will be having fun together because I'm not an editor of any sort. I've already recorded this probably 2 or 3 times without any audio, thinking that it was recording, and it wasn't. So it'll be fun. This is just something that I feel like God put on me to start, and we'll see how it goes. I may have one episode, and that's it. I don't know. I hope to have many episodes. I hope to get people to listen, watch, and just be able to work on themselves. This podcast is to motivate you to be better than you are and better than you think you can be. I want to talk about myself a little bit right here, so you get to know me. I was born and raised in Southern California, Los Angeles County area. I've lived in Los Angeles County my entire life. I love Southern California. Um, it's a beautiful area, and we are seeing some times right now in Southern California where it is not beautiful with the prices of everything and all the above. It makes it hard to live here. But that is life, and we will get through it. I was born in a small little hospital, Verdugo Hills Hospital. My family at the time, my mom and dad, lived in Tujunga. We moved to Santa Clarita, California when I was 6 months old. So all I know is Santa Clarita. Growing up, Santa Clarita was a very small little town, and it has now grown into a very big town. If you don't know where Santa Clarita is, it is where Six Flags Magic Mountain is. Most people in California or the United States, at least the West Coast, when you say Magic Mountain, Six Flags Magic Mountain, you know where that is. We are the thrills capital of the world. I remember growing up going there a lot. I love roller coasters, and yeah. Growing up, I played a lot of sports. Baseball is my all-time favorite sport, and I love baseball. I played baseball year round. Luckily, living in Southern California, weather doesn't get too crazy in the winter, so we can play baseball outdoors all year round with no issues. Um, I played travel ball teams. I played high school baseball. Um, I ended up going to college in Costa Mesa, California. Nice, awesome beach town. Blew out my knee, and that was my baseball career. But to backtrack a little bit from that, uh, growing up, went to church my entire life. Church was a big foundation uh, in my life with my family. We would go to church every Sunday, every Wednesday, and my parents were very involved with the church. My mom, for as long as I can remember, my mom has always been in the children's ministry at our church and has made it a priority to trust that process in helping the church bring the young to know God. With that being said, growing up, I feel like church was something that we just did. I can't say that I was a follower of Christ in the sense of that I gave myself 100% over to his love. Rather, it was something that we did. We every Sunday went to church. Every Wednesday night went to church. I knew all the Bible verses. I prayed all the prayers, loved the worship songs, and enjoyed the company that I had with all my friends. And but that's about it as far as it went for me when I was younger. I had a very good household underneath me. I can't say that we went through or I went through many struggles. Um, I know a lot of you have grown up in broken homes, been abused. I cannot say that I went through any of that. And I'm sorry for those that have. Sympathize with you on that because I can't even imagine the hurt that you may have if you were raised in a broken home or with a parent that was abusive or lost somebody dear to you at a very young age. Because I did not go through that. I will say my childhood was pretty normal, pretty standard, pretty easygoing. My mom allowed me to do a lot of things. I was that person or that kid that was outside until the streetlights came in and I knew I needed to get home. Obviously, I grew up in a time where cell phones were not a thing, and my mom trusted me to be responsible and be home when I needed to be home and not do dumb things. That was my childhood. Having fun, but not being dumb enough to get in too much trouble to where my parents couldn't get me out of the trouble. Sorry, mom and dad. Growing up was it was a different time than it is now. I think children nowadays are struggling to grasp the concepts of the things that we, or my age, I'm almost 40, that we were allowed to do and have fun with being outside. I don't think they knew all of the dangers that potentially could happen outside when they didn't know where we were for hours upon hours. I would say today is harder because of social media and the way we're able to get media so quickly when something happens in the world. Allowing kids outside past dark is something that you don't really hear about very often anymore. A lot of kids are inside before the lights go out. A lot of kids do not play outside as much as we did. I force my kids outside and playing and like to have them off their phones or any type of technology for as long as possible when they're with me. I think that is a good thing for them. Getting them outside, playing with friends, riding their bikes, riding their scooters, playing street basketball, all the above outside and having fun instead of just being on their technology and isolated in their rooms. Back when I was growing up, we were able to enjoy being outside and not having to worry about the things that I think kids nowadays have to worry about. Remember going in elementary school to the pizza place down the street from us. It was down the street from the school. It's called Round Table Pizza. Delicious pizza. I can still remember to this day how good it is. We would go there, me and my friends, and play on the arcade games for hours without spending a dime. Don't know how we did it, how we played the video games, but we did. And then going over to Thrifties and getting ice cream for 50 cents to $1 and getting a big old scoop of ice cream. And then skateboarding home and being outside until the lights going off. And knowing that once those lights came off, I needed to be home within the next 10 minutes or my mom was going to be on me. And dinner was usually ready right around that time too. And I loved my mom's cooking. Still love my mom's cooking. As I got into high school, I was not the smartest when it came to school, but I knew that to play high school baseball, I needed to have at least a C in every class. But my mom's rule was to have at least all B's minus I could have a C in one class. Usually that was math. Even though my mom is really smart in math, I'm not the best mathematician and I hate homework. Always hated homework, and math homework was always so long. Question after question after question of the same stuff over and over and over. And I hated it. But I was able to keep my grades up and was able to make the freshman baseball team. Injured my knee at the beginning of my junior year, and I was a catcher. And of course, that's not good to injure your knee. It took me out for a while, but I was able to play the whole summer league. As I was going into my senior year, we had a coaching change. The coach that was coming up was um, someone that was the JV coach and didn't know me, and basically had said that he wasn't going to play me and he was going to start the JV catcher over me, and I was going to be the senior, so that wasn't fun. So I sat down with my mom and dad, and we decided that I was going to go to the private Christian school in town where all of my best friends or very close friends from church went. And I actually transferred to that school, which is called Santa Cruz Christian School. They forced us to go to chapel. I think it was 3 times a week, and we had a Bible class that we had to go to daily. And that's when I really noticed that I wasn't living the Christian life that um, I should be. I started walking with the Lord more and pushing myself to be better. I can't say that I fully surrendered myself to Christ at that point, but I felt like I walked with the Lord a lot better and a lot more at that time. Fast forward, played baseball. We won the CIF championship first year there. When I graduated high school, I was not originally sure where I was going to go. I was planning on going to a couple different universities that were looking at me for baseball, but I was never a good test taker, and I decided after not scoring well on my SATs that I was just going to go to the local junior college here, where I was told by the coach that I would be playing on the baseball team at that college. During the summer between my senior year of high school and my freshman year of college, I was talking to my two best friends who decided that they were going to go to a school down in Costa Mesa called Vanguard University. And I looked into the school and reached out to the school and found out that I qualified for the school and walked on to the university for baseball. And I really enjoyed being down there. I loved being right next to the beach in Costa Mesa. If you don't know, it's near Huntington Beach, and you can get to the beach from the college dorms in a 10-minute drive, which was awesome. If I wasn't in class or at practice or anything like that, I was at the beach. I loved being out on the water, loved the thought of surfing. I remember the day that my baseball career ended. We were playing a doubleheader, and I had been catching both games. I got a base hit in the seventh inning of the second game. As I was turning first base, I put on the brakes, and my knee did not stop. Tore my ACL, MCL, and meniscus, and ultimately that was my baseball career. I ended up continuing school there for the rest of that semester, and when summer came, I came back to Santa Cruz and started going to the junior college here and got a two-bedroom apartment with four guys total in it, completely slumming it, working part-time and going to school part-time. Funds of being a college student. I ended up meeting my now ex-wife and the mother of my children in junior college. And I remember it was such a random time of life. It's crazy how things happen when they happen. We hit it off very quickly, started dating within a couple months, and dated for about a year, and then proposed, and then we were married 4 months after that. Um, I would say that we got married too quickly, but as a young 22-year-old, you don't know what life is at that point. We got married. We moved into an apartment together and learned the hard way of financial woes. Um, I was working and then was let go of a job, and she was working two jobs, and it was a struggle. Um, I remember we ended up having to move back into my parents' house to financially help each other. And then we got pregnant with my oldest son, and life seemed great other than the fact that we were living at my parents' house. And I think that ultimately really hurt our relationship. My son was a bright side on our relationship, but there was still a lot of things that we were not talking about. Financially, we were really hurting still. To be able to do whatever it was we wanted to do was a struggle financially, especially with being young and having a uh, a young son. It was a struggle, um, but we got through it at the time. I ended up um, working a couple different jobs, and then got into corrections and worked for the state corrections office for a couple years, and that helped us be able to financially get out of some struggles. And then in 2016, I got hired by LA County Sheriff's Department, and we were able to fully move out of my parents' house and financially be able to get on our feet. Still struggled, but it wasn't as bad. 2018, we had our second child, another boy, and I thought life was at the peak of everything. I had a good job, two amazing boys, and I couldn't be happier. Being in a place of our own, ended up buying a house right as he was born, and life was good until a couple months later. A couple months after my youngest was born, I came to find out that my wife had been cheating on me after the birth of our second son. This killed me. I did everything I could to forgive my ex-wife, and we tried, or I tried, to work it out with her, but ultimately we didn't work out. She decided to move in with the guy that she was with, and my life basically almost fell apart. If it wasn't for my boys and wanting to be there for them and support them the best that I could, I don't know what I would have done at that point of life. Ended up selling the house, moving out, moved into a house near my job, and then COVID hit. So the roller coaster stayed at a low point. COVID was hard all around. I had a second grader and a 2-year-old, and it was not fun, but we got through it. I ended up in 2022 moving into a place that we stayed in for up until about 2 years ago, and was able to financially get on my feet. If it wasn't for church, family, and friends, and my boys, I don't know where I would be at this point in my life. I can say that God works in miraculous ways. That's where this story begins. I feel like God has put on my heart that there's people out there that need to hear that they're not alone, that they are one of many that are going through struggles. And I can be a testament to everybody or anyone that you can better your life by trusting in God. In 2025, I found out that because of my weight, that I was borderline diabetic. And I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to be taking diabetic medicine. I didn't want to be overweight anymore. I made the decision that I was going to change. I was going to start working out more. I was going to eat healthier, eat better, and I was going to get myself right to where I wouldn't be diabetic. I told myself I wasn't going to give myself any excuses, and that no matter what, I was doing this for my kids, for my family, for my awesome girlfriend that I have now, who we've been together for almost 2 years now, that I was going to be a better man for them, better father for them. And I've had no excuses since. I started running at 4 a.m. every morning, Monday through Friday, and then either going on a mountain bike ride or another run, long run on Saturday mornings, and then giving myself a rest day on Sundays. Then on my lunch breaks, instead of eating lunch, I would work out for 45 minutes in the gym. In January of 2026, I went on a modified hard 75, as a lot of people would call it. And I cut out drinking, which I didn't think I was having a struggle with. But now that I look back at it, I was drinking every night. I wouldn't say that I was an alcoholic, but every night I'd get home from work and that was the first thing I wanted to do was have a drink. I would never get drunk, but I would drink every night. So in January of 2026, I said that I wasn't going to drink alcohol anymore for at least 75 days. And then I was going to work out 2 times a day, which I was already doing every day. And then I was going to fast for um, basically 24 hours every day. My last meal on the 31st of December, I ate at about 9 o'clock at night. And then I didn't eat again until 9 o'clock at night on the 1st. And then that's what I did. I would basically not eat until the following day at 9 o'clock at night. Now it switched off. I started moving it forward because I felt like 9 o'clock was a little too late. So I started making it to where I would just eat from the hours of 7 to 8 every night. And that's all I would eat. Um, Throughout the day, I would drink coffee and I would drink a lot of water. And that was my way of losing weight and pushing myself to be better. And it helped. I lost about 50 pounds from November of 2025 until February of 2026. And I've maintained keeping that weight off. I'm recording this episode in June now, and I'm still keeping that weight off. I run 5 miles every morning, and that's where I feel like my spiritual walk with the Lord has progressed and become a standing point in my life. On my runs in the morning, it usually takes me about 45 minutes to run my 5 miles, and it's a nice 5 mile loop. And I started listening to motivational sermons, um, churches that I knew about, churches that I didn't know about, listening to them in Spotify and finding ones that were about the same amount of time that my run was going to take. And I felt my faith in the Lord grow. And that's where this has led me. I'm hoping that this podcast reaches somebody who is struggling, who went through some hurt and is just looking for something to help them get through it and know that you're not alone. As we finish up this first episode, I want you to know that I am still a man in progress. I struggle with things daily. I get angry when I shouldn't be angry. I yell at my kids at the dumbest thing. I pray to God, Lord, help me be a better man, be a better father. So as episodes go on this podcast, I hope that not only do I help others, but I will be working on myself as well. Whether it's through our anger, through our hurt, through trusting God, through pain, through fitness, or just talking about life in general that's what this podcast is for. I hope you enjoyed listening to this first podcast, and I hope that you come back for more as I post. And I will say this always at the end of every podcast: enjoy the ride.